Hi, I am Brian Coleman. This is my project for History 103. I'll be covering the Henry rifle. Um, so, first off, what is the Henry rifle? The best place to start is, when it was made, who was it manufactured by, and what is it? So, it was manufactured in 1860 by the New Haven's Arm Company, later named the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. It was designed by Benjamin Tyler Henry, and hence the Henry name. And it is a lever action rifle that is shoulder fired. It uses the lever, which we can see in the bottom right picture, which is the fire guard and the little handrail, to crank the lever to eject the spent shell, rearm the trigger pull, and start the chambering process for the next round. So this was all done at the same time, so this is a very unique design for this weapon. The rifle had a tube in which held a 44 Henry caliber round, and it held 16 of them as well. So using the tube, we can see in the upper picture how these weapons, what the rounds look like, and how the reloading process looked like as well. So the brass tab was compressed by a spring and locked into place, allowing the user to load the rounds into the weapon. And once full, the tab was released. And so the rifle was quite pricey, however, due to its intricate, unique internal workings, and it cost anywhere from the beginning from $30 to $60 during the time. This was very expensive, but that price only went up as the name of this weapon went. The rifle only had a little over 14,000 of it produced, so this weapon may seem extremely ordinary, but it is quite the opposite for the time period. So the importance, unfortunately the videos have no audio, so we would just watch just like what they're doing. Please take into effect the difference and how long it takes to load and how often you can fire it. So let me go to the correct spot. So we can see that he's trying to shove in the ball. You have to tap it down, and then you have to use the ramrod to shove it down the tube. So you have to really tap it down because it could possibly cause an overpressure, and it will cause the weapon to explode. And so the Union soldiers during this time period can probably shoot one round every minute. So this was really hard to get a lot of rounds down range. So you can see he's cocking it back, and he's gonna mount it to his shoulder, and then he's gonna hit the trigger. And you can see there was a little delay in the firing as well. And then now we're gonna look at the Henry rifle, how it reloaded and how it shot. So we can see from the video here, he's pulling the brass tab, cocking it in, and then he is going to load the rounds into the weapon. And you can fit 16 rounds into the whole tube, which is quite the difference between the muzzleloader, which is one at a time. So you see it's fully loaded with 16 rounds in it. He's going to bring it to his shoulder. He can cock it with the lever that is chambering the round, and then he can squeeze the trigger that pushes that hammer forward and hits the pin, which causes it to hit the round and cause the round to set off. So you can see how many rounds he's putting down range consistently, and with precise accuracy he's hitting that target over and over again, and it takes very little time to actually reload this weapon. So just for back reference, really just take notice in how long it actually took to reload just one bullet for the muzzleloader, which is the common weapon during the time period, in comparison to this lever action rifle. So and the muzzleloader is only one time before firing and needing to reload, and then a hang fire for these weapons too, which is a common occurrence, causes the weapon to causing a delay between the trigger pull and the weapon discharging, thus causing issues with sight picture and missing the target completely, while the Henry rifle had no issue like that. So this was a huge game changer since it allowed soldiers to put down many rounds downrange in succession with good accuracy. This design of the lever action was then used later to make a more robust, durable rifle that helped with the expansion into the West, causing a huge rise in its popularity and owners. And it was also a proven given concept throughout the Civil War, and we'll go into that in the next slide. So we can see from this, the Union during the time only ordered 1,731 of these rifles and put them into service to see their effectiveness and adoption and possible adoption into the military. As depicted in the picture to the top right, these are Union soldiers from the 7th Illinois Volunteer Infantry Unit. This unit was equipped completely with Henry rifles, and they actually took contact in 1865 during the Battle of Alton Pass. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and surrounded, and they would have faced little to no hope actually coming out victorious if they had muscle mortars. So this unit of 52 men repelled an oncoming attack of a battalion of Confederate soldiers. So for reference, a battalion consists of nearly 1,000 soldiers. So this is quite a huge up for the lever action to show you how devastating this weapon can actually be. So we have a quote from Confederate Colonel John Mosby, and he was quoted to say that damn Yankee rifle that can be loaded on Sunday and fired all week, because it had 16 rounds in it. This rifle is truly a revolution in the firearm design and how well performed in combat in comparison to its counterpart, the muzzleloader. And it was said that nearly 800 Union soldiers actually took these weapons home with them because they liked them so much. So that's just a true testament to how effective this weapon is. So we will not be playing this video because there's no audio for some reason. We can maybe play this in class. So with that being said, we'll just do a brief overview. So it's actually surprising that the Native Americans used the Henry rifle and lever actions during this time period. They actually used this to help better hold their land and last longer against military engagements with themselves and settlers. So this was happening after the end of the Civil War. Efforts were diverted back to Western expansion, thus leading to the continuity of pushing Native Americans out of their homeland. The Henry rifle and the lever action design saw many skirmishes and major engagements during the expansion period. So for instance, the Fetterman Massacre of December 21st, 1866 saw the use of these weapon systems. The U.S. government during the time sent Fettered out with 80 men to defeat Chief Red Cloud and to do deforestation throughout the area to build more houses and more of the western frontier. So on December 21st, around 10 a.m., the Native Americans, the Sioux Native Americans attacked. So James Wheatley and Isaac Fisher, both armed with Henry rifles, were tasked out to draw the enemy out so that way the rest of the forces could maneuver and engage. These two men died once they ran out of ammo, and the weapons were actually taken by the Indians to aid in the Indian support. So once the soldiers pushed back the Native Americans, it was saw that around 60 Sioux Native Americans actually died trying to kill only 2 men. So not only has this weapon proven itself again to be highly effective, but shows how this machinery has affected the expansion into the West and actual combat. So another instance where the lever actions and Henry rifles specifically were being used is the Battle of Little Bighorn. This video would have gone into more depth. Please feel free to watch it later. So Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull were in charge of nearly over 2,000 Indians and they were a bunch of united tribes, again, wandering the plains because they kept getting pushed out of their homes. So they banded together to help fight against the U.S. government. So the United Tribes, Colonel Custer and the 7th Cavalry Unit was actually sent out to defeat this band and to make them disperse. So that way they were causing no more instances with settlers or other U.S. Opportunities. So the U.S. soldiers were only armed with single-shot rifles, while the Native Americans used their knowledge of the land and Colonel Custer's indecisive tactics to actually completely annihilate this force using approximately 150 repeating rifles. And so this was a huge loss to the U.S. Army during this time period. It showed how resilient the tribes can be, and actually this caused more intervention with the U.S. government to try to push out Native Americans. So I think the quote from Stillman Dineen actually describes this weapon system very accurately. She's quoted to say, "This Winchester, the gun that won the West, stand with the bullet to its knees." It speaks to how significant these rifles were and how much devastation it also brought throughout history, and how it causes, impact on not only just, during the lives of Civil War, but also Native Americans and other people as well. So we'll go into the influence of American culture. So the original lever action, the Henry rifle, inspired the creation of 4 Winchester rifles. So these rifles were popularized through their high rates of fire, accuracy, and easy to reload, like I stated before. There are many instances throughout the expansion in the West where, in states like Montana, the Henry rifle was a part of a mailman's actual gear that he carried with him everywhere. This is crazy to me. Even gangs like the one headed by Old Man James had 25 members, each carrying a Henry rifle, just showing how effective and how deadly it was at its job. So it became somewhat of a staple for self-defense and small game hunting. So this led to the development of the Winchester 73 and other variants that took over for the Henry rifle in later dates. Individuals like Buffalo Bill, however, a prior Union soldier turned showman and a hunter, actually popularized the lever action and the Henry rifle. He preferred using it because he liked riding with it and shooting at the same time, and he hunted thousands of buffalo on horseback, killing them and getting the name of Buffalo Bill. As we can see in the top right, there is Buffalo Bill. The lever action further encouraged the cowboy icons throughout the decades. So the cowboy icon with the lever action drew many people in the West in searching of becoming a cowboy and becoming a quote-unquote man. So there's a quote, and so with this being said, individuals even like Theodore Roosevelt even used the Winchester design. So as we can see in the right, we can see a young Theodore Roosevelt sitting with the Winchester design, and this quote is directed at this image. So this quote is from Philip Dre, a writer for the Times, and he's quoted to say, "In a buckskin hunting costume, rifle at the ready, remains one of the most iconic images of American conservation movement. He looks ready to kill something." End quote. This rifle popularized a cowboy masculinity that was exemplified by hunting, expansion to the West, and being rugged. As we can see from the quote, images like these bolster the idea of being a rugged outdoorsman and being more in tune with nature. So it depicted people should be more rugged in nature and becoming quote-unquote manly. Another example of this effect on culture is the Winchesters used by John Wayne, as we can see in the bottom right corner. John Wayne was a famous actor in the 40s and 50s, starring in 140 films. He used the Winchester rifle to make him an iconic cowboy during the time, and he used this rifle in many Western movies, making it the iconic weapon in all Western movies. So they even made a movie even about the Winchester 73, which is all lever action based rifles that are all based on the design of the Henry rifle. So even today, video games like Red Dead Redemption depict the West and cowboys and gangs using weapons like the Henry rifles or later variations of the Winchester lever action. It is nearly impossible to go your whole life without seeing imagery of this iconic weapon. So we will see some closing comments of this. With everything talked about and viewed, we can see how much death and destruction this weapon system has caused. There is no denying the very felt effects of this weapon to this day, either through the deaths of those by it used during the Native American conflicts, to even toys and video games. This weapon had a profound effect on America, from almost every little kid in the 40s and 50s wanting to be a cowboy hero, just like John Wayne, getting the cowboys outfits and Red Ryder BB guns. And for those who don't know, Red Ryder BB guns are toy guns that are designed like the lever action rifles, and I even owned one, and I still own one today. So this imagery like I said, through my own instance and through my own experience, it's still seen in cinema, Western movies, video games, and toys for people of all ages. And this goes to show how a weapon system that was made in the 1860s still influencing the youth and culture of today, and trying to push that masculine identity of being a rugged cowboy hero through the use of this lever action rifle. Um, Thank you so much for joining me. Sorry those videos didn't work. Uh, I encourage you to go back and watch them with audio. Thank you so much for your time and patience, and I hope you have a great day.